Hey guys, Robert Maxwell with the Man Factory, and in this video I'll be sharing with you some of my recent training footage and talking about how I'm using my training to prepare for my first ever powerlifting competition. I've decided to compete in a powerlifting meet put on by the Ontario Powerlifting Association happening sometime in spring 2019 in North Bay, Ontario. So my training hasn't changed a whole lot as I've started to prepare for that since making the decision to compete, because I was training for strength before, and powerlifting is about strength. If anything, I'm training more specifically now to improve my overall 1-rep max strength in the 3 main lifts: squat, bench press, and deadlift. So I started this squat and deadlift session with 335 for 5, which was fairly light for only 5 reps for me, but I planned to work up to my goal top set for the session, which was 405 for 5. I didn't end up getting that, as you'll see later, but you can't always hit PRs, and working through not hitting PRs so that you can eventually hit them is part of the process of getting stronger. So the 335 for 5 was pretty easy. I moved up by 20 pounds to 355, going for 5 again. I've found the graduated training approach, so working up gradually heavier and heavier, ultimately to a top set as the final set of a workout, to be a good strategy for me. Sometimes I do volume work, so the same weight for 5 sets of 5 reps, for example, but I don't do it too often. I find this tends to get me stronger faster if I work up like this. Again, the 355, moving pretty well, just like the 335. I was putting into practice here some slight technique tweaks in my squat, mainly trying to keep my heels and toes planted firmly and evenly on the floor to push off from, not letting my heels or toes rise at any point in the squat. I didn't do that perfectly, but it was becoming an issue previously, and paying attention to that in this session did help. I found that the lifts just felt more efficient. So my third working set of the session was 375 for 5, another 20-pound jump. And this is a weight that I've done for 6, sometimes 8 reps before. So this, again, wasn't a particular challenge for 5 reps. But what I did find is that by the time I hit rep 4, I was grinding a little more than I wanted to. So on rep 5, I tried to make more use of the bounce out of the hole, but it didn't end up working too well. I ended up having some knee slide, as you're about to see here, and kind of losing a little bit of control of my bar path on this final rep. So here it is. As I go down, my knees sort of lurch forward, and I did get it, and it went up pretty quickly, but it just made me more aware that I need to be mindful of controlling my knees and not relying too much on the bounce. So my final 4th working set was, as I said, 405 for 5, at least that was the goal. I could make excuses for why it didn't pan out this time, as you're about to see. You know, we've been sleep training our 1-year-old daughter, and I haven't been sleeping all that well. Plus, that day, the day of this training session, I had done a whole lot of pretty hard outside work, and I was kind of tired, but, you know, that's life, and at the end of the day, you either get the lift or you don't. Today, I didn't. I managed to get 1 rep, and here it is. It was a bit of a struggle, and I knew I wasn't going to get any more. I tried anyway, of course, and as you see, I had to rely on my safeties, the safety bars in my rack, to save my life. Thank goodness for those. Now, I know, to all you serious powerlifters out there, I'm well aware of the fact that I should be training with spotters at maximal loads, but don't got none. So next I moved on to deadlift. I'm doing deadlifting a little bit differently since I decided to compete than I did in the past. Traditionally, I've been a sumo puller and have always pulled anything heavier than 315 pounds with a belt on, for safety and because, you know, belts make you stronger, so they make you able to lift more weight, which is always good. But at the suggestion of a friend of mine, for the recent phase of my deadlift training, I've actually been training conventional and beltless, as you see here. Conventional deadlifting is more athletically taxing than sumo deadlift, and usually if you're a sumo puller, and that's how you're most comfortable, you won't be able to pull as much weight conventional. I find that the weights I'm pulling here, despite the fact that it's conventional and I'm going beltless, are getting kind of close to what I can pull sumo. Still somewhat less, of course. This first set was 315 for 5. Pretty light. I've done 315 for 11 or 12 before, beltless and conventional. So this wasn't an issue at all. But I wanted to gradually work up to, as it turns out, the same weight that I was aiming for on the squat, 405 for 5. The second set was 365 for 5. Just added a couple of 25-pound plates. A fairly big jump, but I was only doing 3 working sets of the deadlift, so I wanted to kind of split the difference between 315 and 405. And again, this felt pretty good. I like to film myself from the side on deadlift, as you see, to pay attention to if my back is rounding or not. Like a lot of guys who deadlift regularly, my spinal erectors, my lower back, is my weak point, and that's kind of the area you most want to protect when you're deadlifting and not let it round over. So that's one of the benefits of pulling beltless for a phase. It puts a lot of strain on your lower back muscles, but as long as you keep the form good, you're going to get a whole lot stronger in that area. So here's the 405 for 5, and as you can see, the form isn't quite as clean as the other 2 sets. There is a little lower back rounding, especially towards the end here, as you can see. But I find the amount of lower back rounding is just barely acceptable. I wouldn't want it to round any more, but I count this as a successful set. So that's the video. I hope you found this interesting and maybe helpful for your own training, whether or not you're thinking of competing. If you enjoyed it, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching.